Okay, so this is the little recording for lesson 7.02, measures of center. This is about mean, median, and mode. Here is the problem set. As always, please make sure that after this recording you complete that problem set before you try to take the quiz. Okay, so measures of center. The first one, and probably the one that you hear about most often, is the mean. The mean is basically the average of all the numbers in a set of data. So if you have collected data, such as, maybe taking some of those surveys like we talked about with the previous lesson, and then you want to talk about the data, then you would possibly use mean, which is the average. Basically, all you have to do to find the mean is to add all the numbers up and then divide by however many numbers there actually are. So, what I'm going to do to find the mean of this set of data is I'm going to add 3 plus 5 plus 2 plus 7 plus 4 plus 7 plus 8 plus 2 plus 5 plus 5 plus 2 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 plus 9 plus 1. And then I'm going to count and see how many there are. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 numbers, so I'll divide by 16. So the next thing to do is to actually add the tops there. 3 plus 5 is 8. I'm going to kind of do it in pairs. 2 plus 7 is 9. 4 plus 7 is 11. 8 plus 2 is 10. 5 plus 5 is 10. 2 plus 6 is 8. 7 plus 8 is 15. 9 plus 1 is 10. So obviously you could just use a calculator, but some of you might actually want to see this. So here we go. 17 plus 21 plus 18 plus 15 plus 10, plus 18 plus 25. So we're going to add those together. Alrighty, and 38 plus 43. So 38 plus 43 is 7, 8, and 1, 81. If I did all my math right, hopefully I did. And now I'm going to go ahead and use a calculator. 81 divided by 16. You could do it by longhand division, of course, but that's 5.065. So that would be my mean. And if I wanted to round to, say, the hundredths place, then I would say 5.06 it would be to the nearest hundredth. 5.1 would be to the nearest tenth. Let's do to the nearest tenth. They might also just want to the nearest unit. You could just do 5. So you just have to pay attention to how they say it around, if they say it around. So again, it's just adding them all up and dividing by how many you have. Okay. The median. The median is another measure of center. The median is exactly or simply just the middle number. Or if you have two middle numbers, the average of the middle numbers in a set of data in numerical order. So in order to do the median, the first thing that you need to do is actually put the numbers in order from least to greatest. So you need to put them in numerical order, then find what the middle number is, or there might be two. So I'm going to show you a way to do this. First of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this list of numbers and I'm going to say, okay, I need to put them in order. The smallest number is 1. Then I see a 2, but I see 3 2s. Whoops. Then I'm going to see, I see a 3. Oh, but there's only 1. I see a 4. There's only one of those. I see a 5. And there's another 5 and another 5. And then do I see any 6s? Oh, there's one 6. I see a 7, and a 7. I'm looking for 8s. I see 2 8s. And I see 1 9. So I just went through and tried to put everything in order. One good way to check to make sure you still have all the numbers is to count. This is the same set of numbers from last time, so we know there are 16 numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So since I still have 16 numbers, it means I got them all. So I'm good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for the middle number. There were 16 numbers. So 16 divided by, 2 is 8. So that means that the middle is going to be near 8. But if you think about it, 16 is split into 8 and 8, right? So that means that the middle is like, you know, there's no actual one number in the middle, because I would have 8 on one side, 8 on the other, and a division line in between. In fact, let me even add that for you so you can see what I'm talking about. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right there. That is the halfway mark. The halfway mark is right between these two 5s. So because it's right between these two 5s, I don't have just one middle number. I have two middle numbers. But the nice thing about this one is that both middle numbers are the same. So taking the average is actually super easy. Normally, since you won't always have the same number, I'm going to show you that you would take the average of those two middle numbers. But because the two middle numbers were the same, I do actually just get the value of 5, because the average of 5 and 5 is 5. So my median is 5. So median just tells me what the middle number is. Okay, the last measure of center we're going to talk about is the mode. The mode is the most frequent number or numbers in a set of data. Now, mode is kind of, well, I'll tell you, I always remembered them this way, because some of you may be like, mean, median, and mode, they all start with M. Mean, it's really mean. It's the most math you have to do, because the mean is really mean, so you have to take the average for the mean. The median actually really literally means middle. Some of you may know about a traffic median. You know, the median is that cement thing right in the middle of the road. So if that helps, it's the middle of the road. And then moda is something having to do with fashion, right? Or style in Spanish. I think it might be style, I don't know. But we do know that. So mode is actually, can mean fashionable. And in a sense, the mode in a set of data is the most fashionable number, because it is the number that is most frequent. So here is my numbers again in order. So to find the mode, all I need to do is look and see which number occurs more than once and the most times possible. So if I'm looking at this, I see, oh, I've got these here, right? There's 3 2s. There are 3 5s, and there are 3 7s. So there are only 2 8s. So the 2s, 5s, and 7s all have more than the 8s do. So the modes, this actually has 3 modes. 2, 5, and 7 are all modes because they all tied for first place as far as how many times they occurred. So all 3 of those are modes. So just look for the most common. If no number appeared more than once, then we would not have a mode. And if everything, well, and like I said, tied for first. If more than one of them is more frequent, then that happens. But yeah, if nobody appears more than once, then there's no mode. Okay, so for a particular set of data, you might need to know which would be the best measure of center. Depending on the data set, some data sets are not well described by particular measures of center. So for example, mean. If you have outliers, that means numbers that don't fit well with the other numbers, then mean is probably not going to be a good measure of center. So for example, if you look at this set of data here, 1, 3, 22, 25, 28, 30, 35, this 102 is an outlier. It is way out there, right? It is nowhere close to the rest of the data. What that means is that when you try to take an average, the average is going to look artificially higher because of this 102. So it really won't be a very good measure of center because we have a value here that's way out there. Plus that 1 and that 3 also are actually kind of low. You know, they might not technically be outliers, but they're pretty pretty far away from everything else that we want here, so yeah. Okay, if there is no mode, or a lot of modes, mode may not be a good measure of center. So for example, in this set right here, there is no mode. So if there is no mode, then mode is not a good measure of center for that set of data. Also on this one, because every number has exactly the same number of items, this also would not really be a very good measure of center, because it wouldn't tell you anything. And then finally, if the data is skewed or heavily weighted to one side, then the median may not be a good measure of center. So if you look at this data here, notice that the 9.8, the 9.8, 9.9, 10, 10.1, 10.2, these are all really close together, whereas the 12.8 and the 15.7 are not. They probably aren't outliers, but because it's so heavily, like there's so many numbers that are so close to each other over here, the median would not necessarily be a good measure of center, because if you were to try to find the median of this, let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 numbers. So the median would be right here. Let me grab a line for you. Hold on a second. So this is where the median would be. It would be right between 10 and 10.1. So the median is 10.05. And that really isn't halfway between the data, right? 10.05 is really close to 9.8, but pretty far from 15.7. So median would not necessarily be the best measure of center here. This one, measure of center, would probably be best as the mean. Definitely mode would not really be very helpful here, since the mode is 9.8 and it's all on one side. That wouldn't be a very good measure of center. But mean would be the best measure of center for this. You know, for this one here, looking at this data, then probably either mean or median would be decent measures of center. This one, mean or median, either one would actually work really well for this set of data as well. And for this one, median would probably be the best measure of center. Notice that there is no mode on this set here. So since there isn't a mode, that wouldn't work either. So median would really be the only measure of center you would want to use. Or else you'd have to take out your outlier and discard it, and then you could do mean, maybe. Okay. So hopefully that helps you to evaluate which ones are the best to use for different cases. Ask yourself things like, are there outliers? Then mean probably isn't the best. Do I have a lot of modes or no modes? Then mode might not be the best. Is the data pushed kind of to one side or the other? Then maybe median might not be the best. Okay, oops, sorry about that. Okay, so once again, this was 7.02. Please make sure to do the problem set so that you are prepared for the quiz, and then try the quiz. Thank you.